What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall market. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be very important for the way the market is going to be moving because we have some very, very important data that's coming out. But I want to break down what's going to likely happen to the way our presidential election goes, not to mention other factors like that and how it's going to affect the share prices. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. Anyways, now let's talk about the market and why tomorrow is going to be looking for a very, very big move. So NIO has this head and shoulders like structure just slowing down a bit as we're hitting resistance around this 5.3 area, very, very close to where our very, very key EMAs happen to be. We have a gap to fill taking us all the way down towards the 5.14 area. And there is looking like a risk of this potentially coming down because of that. So just keep that in mind, guys. We might see NIO end up making a move right back down. If we're bullish, you want to break past 5.38 to really start pushing. Otherwise, we're at risk of coming all the way back down to fill this gap. So that being said, guys, we're watching to see how this ends up developing. So far, there is this head and shoulders, so just be very mindful of that. And we'll see what that leads to, at least moving forward. Now, let's talk about the market first. The market did attempt to rebound when it comes to the finance sector, tech, and many other consumer durables. The majority of stocks did end up seeing a very, very big bounce as there's a lot of hype associated with the election. We're getting very close to it. So we'll be watching to see what ends up happening with all of this. For now, the market does look like it wants to push a little bit higher, but we'll see what the reaction happens to be going into tomorrow. Today, the ISM services data came out, not too bad, but going into the later days, don't forget that there's not really much coming out for tomorrow, at least in terms of data. But we do have the presidential election tonight, and hopefully we get our winner tonight that's announced. Sometimes it could take a little bit longer. If we get the winner tonight, okay, and regardless of who wins, the market does look like it's looking for a big move. We might see a nice pump regardless of who wins. Some stocks may have different reactions, though. So, for instance, we might see Tesla, of all things, actually get a more positive reaction if we get a Trump victory. And if the opposite happens, we could be looking for a rug pull because Elon Musk is once again, favoring one candidate. Also, Bitcoin could be making a bigger move if we do see a Trump victory. It's going to likely pump even more. And if Harris wins, we could be looking at something kind of different because of what's going on with different regulatory changes for like Google and such. I think a Kamala victory would be more bullish for Google and many other tech stocks. But overall, guys, different stocks will pump a little bit more or less depending on who ends up winning. But as of right now, the market does seem to be favoring that it wants to push a little bit more tomorrow. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not. It may depend on who ends up winning and other factors like that. Now, for the fear and greed index, right now, we're pretty neutral. We're close to a little bit more in favor of fear, but the market was trying to rebound. So now I would say we're closer to neutral. Momentum is also at neutral. And the put to call option ratio is now going up as we're seeing a lot more puts being bought right before the election. Could this lead to a little squeeze in the markets? We'll have to see about that, but be very patient nonetheless. Also, guys, when it comes to the way the market's moving, just know that for today, we just got Supermicro's earnings. Supermicro basically did not do as well as what we were hoping for because their revenue is below expectations. Besides that, everything else was quite decent. Their outlook was so, not that great. It was just okay. And that's why the share price is down. So, not the best revenue, not the best guidance. That's why the share price is dipping. For November 11th, basically, the 2024 UN Climate Change Conference is going to be going on. This is going to be important, and NIO is going to be a very important member over there. They're going to be talking about the green car park fleet, the NIO ES8, the ET7, the ES6, not to mention a lot more growth potential factors out there. So I think it's very important for them to maintain their initiative. There's also been a lot of talk about how NIO's Firefly hybrid could be a very, very good growth catalyst for Europe. So we'll see how that goes for them. They're actually targeting the nice areas, Europe and the Middle East for 2026, and entering the hybrid car business. That's very, very great news because it could lead to another big boost in their sales. On top of this, McGuire gave them an outperform rating, and then the volume overall is at 31.5 million. Not bad whatsoever. So what do I see for the share price of NIO? Unless we break 5.38, we got to break that to turn back to bullish. If we don't break that, I do see a risk of us coming back down to $5. I think this is going to be dipping a little bit off this head and shoulders. And also because of the fact that we're rejecting off our very, very key resistance right over here. So we have this resistance to watch for, very close to about this um, 20 and 50 EMA area. So if we end up projecting here, we're looking for a dip back down. I think this may continue to dip to fill this gap. So 5.16 to 5 is likely coming. There might be a little dip on NIO coming. This is what technicals suggest. Could the election affect this differently? It's possible. So we'll see what happens with the election, who ends up winning. Usually we do find out the winner tonight, but sometimes it could take them longer to count, or for many other reasons, whatever you guys want to like, think. But I just want to say that we have to give it a little bit more time. As far as SPY goes, SPY is looking very bullish, approaching tomorrow. So when you look at the daily time frame, we are trying to push to fill this gap, which would take us back up to about the 580 area. And there's a good chance that it may attempt to do that. We'll have to see about it just to be a little bit more confident, but I'm just trying to say that's going to be very important. If we're bearish on SPY, you want to see it basically lose 572.5. If that fails us, we're looking for 570. This is favoring that it wants to fill this gap up to at least 580 by tomorrow. Maybe it depends on who wins, but that's looking like the most likely move. Maybe regardless of who wins, it tries to push temporarily before another bigger move. So that's what's looking very, very favorable to me. For ES, we have a gap to fill as well on the daily at 58.50. If we get a victory, whoever ends up winning, I think the odds do favor that 58.50 target. But we'll see if we get a rejection or not. If we end up losing 57.80, we turn back down. This is still favoring upside nonetheless. For Tesla, we look a little bit more bullish. We push very, very nicely to about that 255 area. We also have this resistance around this 258 zone. Will we pump? If Trump gets a victory, I think this pumps to the 260s. It's going to be a big pump. If not, if Trump does not win, and Kamala Harris wins, we could be looking for this gap down here to get filled. Because don't forget that Elon Musk has been supporting just one candidate, and he's been very, very vocal about it. So with the things that he's basically said, that's why we're going to be paying attention to that. For Nvidia, we look more bullish. We're basically looking for an attempt to get it back up to 141.5. If we get a decent reaction. If we lose 135.9, we turn more bearish, but this is still favoring upside, so it looks more bullish to me. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit more bullish. As long as we don't lose 68,300, we're looking for a push back up towards 70,000, 71,000, basically. Bitcoin's also going to go flying past these highs if we get a Trump victory. If not, it might be a little bit slower, so just keep that in mind. For others, we have NQ trying to push right here for bullish, looking for basically 20,500 plus. For bearish, we're going to be looking for a big rejection back down below 20,000. We're favoring upside, technically speaking. The QQQ is also favoring a push back up to at least 495 plus. We'll see if that ends up being the case. It depends on the election, but that's what this is looking like. Aapl looks like it's going to try to push to fill this first gap up here for 225. If we lose 220, though, I turn more bearish, but this does look a little bit more bullish. For the IWM, we look a little bit more bullish. We're trying to fill this imbalance, taking us up to 225. So we're seeing a lot of upside potential in the market for now, just as of right now. And we'll see how the election ends up causing this reaction, how it ends up going. For others out there, we have Coin. Coin is looking more bullish. We're basically looking to see if 195 breaks. If that does break, we're looking for basically 200. If we end up losing 191, we're looking for 188. So I'll be watching this as well. For Amazon's looking more bullish, looking for 200 as our resistance. And we have the support down here around 198, which would take us back down to about 195 if that fails. For Meta is looking more bullish. We break past 574, we're looking for basically 580. And if we end up losing 568, we're looking for a push back down for 563. For Microsoft, we're looking more bullish. We're looking for basically 415. If that breaks, we're looking for 419. If we lose 408, we turn back down. Still looks like it wants to rebound. Google is very indecisive. I think that it depends on if we get a Kamala victory or not. So we'll see about that. I think that's going to be very, very important. So with that being said, guys, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I just want to say that whatever happens with this whole election. NIO does look a little bit more bearish, whereas the market does look bullish. So we will see if this perpetuates or not. Please be very mindful of that. And then don't forget, guys, whatever happens. So I just wish the best for all people out there. All people around the world. I just want you all to be safe. Have a very, very good night wherever you guys are. And then for the Americans out there, I just want to say that I wish you all the best as well. Hope that we get a very, very safe and fair election. And what happens. We just have to be optimistic nonetheless. We have the power to forge our futures as well. So whoever wins, it's not the end of the world. It's not even like, the best thing or worst thing in history. We just have to stay optimistic and keep our heads up no matter what. And we will see how things end up going. So I wish the best for everyone out there, no matter who you support. I respect your decision, and we'll see how it goes. This will cause a big move in the markets. The market's favoring upside for tomorrow. We'll see about that though, depending on who wins, and let's see if we get a winner tonight. So hopefully by the next time I record a video tomorrow, we have a winner. And I just hope this election just gets out of the way so we could now continue on with our lives. I thank you all for listening. Have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and peace out.